Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome in 17 and some change. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. I'm EcuDez17. I'm coming to bring you my 2 cents. Um, so I think I kind of just want to jump into the main point of this podcast first and foremost, as opposed to kind of leading up to it with some smaller topics and stuff like that. Because this is the topic that's been on my mind essentially all day. Well, in between and stuff like that, in between working. It was a very wild day at work today. Um, but every chance that I had, I made sure to engage with this topic in my mind. Um, as you can see in the title, um, you know, it's one of many issues. So I had been loosely uh, running into various atheists online recently, and it kind of reignited um, that particular uh, subject in my conscious awareness. Um, the existence or lack thereof of a god, and who that god is, and all these different types of things, right? Mainly the people, and I don't know what is going on at the moment in terms of my cellular device. Um, they told me if I'm gonna replace this phone, I won't be I won't be able to use my grandfathered plan. I have a good deal with T-Mobile that I was able to get years ago, but and I don't really replace these phones. I try not to replace my phone often, but it's not uh, scrolling the way that I want it to, and it's not really my favorite thing in the world. Um, I mean, I have backup notes and stuff like that. Um, okay. I was going to make this episode on I was gonna attack multiple points, right? That was my original goal. Having watched a little bit of Hitchens and Harris recently, I've seen them. I've watched dozens of hours on these guys in the past, um, along with other humans, and but I wanted to kind of systematically go through uh, all of them, like their best arguments, and see, if I could come with some sort of rebuttal, you know, um, and you realize, uh, so you, I didn't get so far. I mean, I got bogged down on the first point of contention, right? I was thinking about that for a while, with the first point of contention and stuff like that. Um, and you do realize, like, you kind of have to, define your terms early, and maybe often, because if I'm arguing in favor of God against various atheists, uh, it's very important to establish which lens I'm coming from, because it will be, as you'll see in this first and only example for today, it's uh, things to me become exceedingly difficult to explain and defend as a fundamentalist, um, of the book, whether that's Jewish or Christian. Um, though you buy yourself a lot more room if you, uh, whether as a fundamentalist or not, you buy yourself a lot more room when you include the New Testament, when you include Christianity into the book, right? Um, you buy yourself a lot of wiggle room, and so me, I'm eh, I'm not a fundamentalist. I've mentioned that in the past. Um, I can't definitively say that you know the books are infallible. I can't say that. I mean, that encompasses it. I can't say that a divine entity is responsible for every line in every book, um, with any amount of certainty, right? Um, and I think that's a very tough position to defend. Um, I look at it more holistically. Well, holistically, I'm sure some of a lot of it is literal, but I do, um, especially with the Old Testament, I like my cherry picking. I do, and because and that's an important distinction, right? Because otherwise, when Sam Harris or the likes pose a question that says, uh, "How could a divine?" Uh, Now, so I believe that parts of the Bible are inspired, but again, I don't think God had uh, oversight on every sentence that was written. I think parts are divinely inspired, but so when somebody says like, well, if why would the Bible uh, fail to condemn to condemn slavery explicitly? Um, you would think that would be an easy one to just add, maybe to the Ten Commandments, maybe replace one of the other ones, or maybe add it as like an 11th commandment, or something along those lines. You know, and if it was a divinely inspired God, or divinely uh, authored text, right? That is the epitome of moral insight. Then why would you leave something like that out? It seems pretty common sense, right? Um, so now, in retrospect, I've given myself personally a really good places to go, right? I could say, well, that part is just um, that part is just humans, right? That part is just the human stuff that deals with the culture of the time and the societal norms, and uh, it's closer to hearsay, um, which, as a statement in itself, is wild to um, a standard like fundamentalists, right? Because um, these were the letters of the law. Like this was the law that Moses was giving, and it included, you know, and it included, ways to treat your slaves, as opposed to the idea that you should abolish them. So basically, if I'm saying that, well, we'll take that passage, or those, we'll take that portion as just human stuff, and not divine, then you're basically, I mean, that is the whole crux of the religion, right? No religious person would be like, yeah, that's fine. You could say that what Moses was talking about wasn't divinely authored, didn't have the approval of God. That, because that's basically the argument that I'm posing there, which is, well, since parts of the Bible, since you can cherry pick, since not every part is equally as blessed, um, then I want to take out the part that didn't condemn slavery, and the part that, these laws, but it's these laws, they're in Leviticus and Deuteronomy, and I mean, we're talking about, like the foundation, like the building blocks of, like, the law of the Torah. Um, so that kind of takes you off into places. If that's your position, then that puts you kind of really far in left field as far as the traditional believers are concerned, and the traditional religious are concerned. And so I don't know if I want to do that. I don't want to know. I don't know if I want my position to be, uh, well, Moses wasn't talking to God. Like Moses, whatever Moses was saying was just like half truths. You know what I mean? Because that would be more along the lines, right? Moses's law, I mean, he didn't get it really, like, in its entirety and stuff like that. There was like a missing translation. He added some things. He left some things out. Um, the burning bush was just a dream. Like, I don't want to necessarily have that be my point, or my stance, or my belief. Uh, um, and maybe it will be, you know, um, upon further reflection and stuff like that. But let's say I don't want to. That's kind of like conceding to the argument. Then again, I don't know why I would be arguing from a fundamentalist point, but it just all ties in. Like everything kind of ties in so complexly. Uh, so let's say I'm not, for whatever reason, I'm not arguing from the standpoint that uh, the Bible didn't include anything negative about owning slaves, because that part wasn't uh, um, divinely divinely authored to the right degree. Where where would you pivot? Right? Where would you pivot on that? You know, how are you going to uh, uh, say, hey, what do you say? Maybe it wasn't so bad. What do you say? Like, well, everybody was doing it. Like, what do you appeal to? Subjective morality at that point. You would, oh, maybe uh, uh then maybe then maybe murder wasn't so bad, and um but that's not the point. The point is, if you're like, that puts you in a shit spot if you're trying to defend uh, that, because you can't go to subjective morality, right? That's what I'm saying, because that instantly puts you um like that instantly puts you in a spot where, like, you can't do that. You can't appeal to the subjectiveness of morality when the point is to have a god that creates morality. Like, because typically your stance is, there is an objective reality because there is a god, or there is a god, therefore there is an objective reality. So you can't appeal to subjective reality, uh, uh, morality, if you're trying to um, do the defend the Bible in that way, right? And it just doesn't add up. Like, you can't say, like, because you just can't take that position. You can't just say, oh well, it's subjective, like, for the obvious reason, like, on its face, like that's that's bad. Like, no, like, clearly it's not, but and then for the reason that you're just destroying the whole point of even having God as a moral being, uh by invoking the idea that morality could be subjective in that instance. um which is kind of funny because, uh, if you think about, uh, and this is just like kind of like a side shot that kind of ties in a little bit, but if you think about um, abortion, I would say that it seems very obvious that abortion is objectively wrong. I would say it's super clear that this isn't what uh, uh, nature intended. Whatever we consider to be good, this process is not it. I think that is so inherent. I think that is so obvious. A monk, like anything can figure that out. But yet, now there are atheists that are pro-choice, but yet, you know, atheism uses subjective morality uh, to okay that process, right? Um, so it's I don't, like I said, I don't know exactly how that ties in to kind of the inverse that we were talking about with uh it's really Judaism. Like I really should refer to it as Judaism when it comes to um the whole slave thing. Um so you can't say it's subjective. Um and they won't try that for both those reasons. They won't try that. They won't try that because if they say it's subjective, then that means their God is condoning something that, I mean, you just like that's clearly objectionable. Like unless they're like, yeah, no, slavery's fine, right? And nobody's gonna say that. Like Ben Shapiro's not gonna be like, yeah, well, God was actually onto something when he said you should buy your slaves and treat them really nice, and God, he had a really good point there. I don't see how that's inherently bad. Um, like that's not the position he's gonna take for obvious reasons and for multiple reasons. So like they have to get at it from an angle, and their angle is, I'm talking about like the best defenses that I've heard. Um, their angle is kind of almost parallel to a subjective morality appeal. Right. Their angle is cultural appropriation. It's their angle is that um cultural prominence. Like this was such a prominent part of the world. Like you don't even understand like how like second nature this practice was throughout history. Everybody. Um, and the all knowing, all loving God couldn't possibly tell them, um, no, don't do the slavery thing, because it would like uproot all their shit. Like they couldn't even fathom like their whole way of life like would cease to function if they completely abolished that practice uh, with Moses. And so the idea is that God planted the seeds for that type of momentum to be created so that eventually there will be an abolition. And so it was, he wanted kind of like a slow roll type of process. Um, and I'll get back to that with a rebuttal on that. But these same type of people will also argue that it wasn't the same type of slavery as we think of now, where it was more of an indentured servitude type thing, um, a tier below an apprenticeship, something that you can work your way out of, something that's just the just the rotation, like you're born into, you work your way out of, everybody goes through it. But that's, I think, that's that's too dismissive, and it doesn't uh, take into account some of the more egregious things that are said about um, essentially permission to own other people and stuff like that. Um, and so, and if you're talking about, well, uh, you know, God openly condemns plenty of other uh, social norms, some of them being like really prominent ones, some of them being ones that you would think would turn its society on its head. Like adultery is a good example. Like, he's talking to a society of people who had multiple gods. Like, they had tons of gods for generations and generations and generations. They were all, I don't want to say they were all pagans and like and be wrong, but um no, they worshiped various gods. They weren't monotheists. And one of his thing was like, you shall have no gods, no other gods. Me, I'm the only one. Just me. I'm above everything. I'm the god of the god. Like, there are no other gods as far as y'all's is concerned. It's just me. It's just me, the God of Abraham. Like, that's all there was. That's all there'll ever be. I'm the Alpha, the Omega, all these things. And that was a huge, huge shift. You know, he also condemned other things, you know, that were bad. Uh, like a murder and stuff like that. Now, murder wasn't, as prominent. Not everybody went around doing the murder and stuff like that, but like, um, he had no. I don't want to say cannibalism and be wrong. I heard he was condemning child sacrifice. Um, Even though he has a couple stories about encouraging and asking for child sacrifice. But those are different things that we would talk about anyways. Like, they would be completely different subjects. Um, the 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 point is that he doesn't seem to have any problem condemning things that were uh, going on and that were bad and that would even like turn society um, on its head. You know. Um, sexual norms as well. There were a ton of sexual norms apparently that were common amongst Egypt and Canaan. But he doesn't seem to have any issues like condemning bad practices and stuff like that. And so why couldn't he just condemn that one specific practice, you know? And I thought about it. I thought about it, and oh, the Bible's a multitude of books. Yeah, I mean that just goes to the that doesn't that doesn't help anything. Um, um, but so that's so he's condemning other things, but not that. So why would he condemn other things, but not that? Um, and so, like with everything, if you extend it to the realm of Christianity, you buy yourself a little bit more room. But the issue, because I was talking to somebody about it, they were like, "Oh, well, I'm a Catholic, so it doesn't really matter why God didn't condemn slavery in the Old Testament." And I'm like, "Well, I mean, the God that you worship claimed that the author of the Old Testament was his father, right? I mean, it's like we're talking, like that's the point. You know what I mean? Like, and he could be like, the new law and stuff like that. Um, but I mean, I don't know. To me, it's kind of like a mixed message when you say you didn't come to abolish the law, but like every sentence will be fulfilled. But like when somebody asked, and this is the branch that I found to stand on as a non-fundamentalist Christian. When somebody asked Christ in regards to an other issue, why it wasn't so in the book, even though Christ is saying it's always been so. Like there's this moral law in regards to marriage that has always existed even before the books, even though it's not in the books. Like and he was basically saying the same point that the Jews would make in regards to the slow rolling of that abolition, where he was saying essentially that they couldn't hear it at the time. Like they wouldn't be able to hear it at the time. Um, uh, so uh, uh, what do you call it in um wow, what's that word like when you're so paraphrasing the the Pharisees asked Christ why Moses allowed a man to give his wife a certificate of divorce. And Christ responds uh, that Moses permitted you to divorce your wives because your hearts were hard, but it was not this way from the beginning. Um, so basically, what he's saying is like Moses permitted this to be the case because of the hardened nature of humans' hearts, um, not because of God's uh, perfect moral idea, not because of God's original design. Um, and that ties in exactly to the idea that the world just wasn't ready for it. Because then, if you go on to look at the rest of Christianity and the rest of Christ, like he really, like, if Judaism laid the groundwork to begin to start to see that practice differently, um, then the teachings of Christ really multiplied that exponentially when he talks about the least becoming the greatest, and all of us being servants to each other and to God, and blessed are the meek, and different things like this. He really becomes a catalyst for the abolition of that practice. Now, with all that being said, does that mean I won the argument? Does that mean that the the point doesn't still remain that uh no, he should have just put that as one of the commandments? No, I mean, I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying, but it does give it's a branch to kind of stand on a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Could say, yeah, well, he wanted to, according to Christ and tradition. Like, it seems like he wanted to say, don't do that, but he had to slow roll it because the humans, they weren't ready to hear all that. And which is evident by them not freaking listening to the other 10. Like, as soon as he gave them the laws in the story, like, they went, like, I think while, I don't know, I don't want to butcher this, but like, for comedy's sake, it's like while freaking Moses was on Mount Sinai, they were uh throwing mud balls and breaking the law. But I think as soon as they got the law, they were like breaking that shit, like all of it. None of that held up. Um, so like, and if God was talking to those people at that time, maybe he did know. Maybe he was like, yeah, these fucking guys, these free will motherfudgers that hate fucking good stuff that already sacrificed. Like we're talking about a people, like if it was written specifically for them and then like there were supposed to be more messages along the way, if that's the case, then we're talking about like laws that he was writing to cannibals. Like these were the people that were eating each other. They were freaking sacrificing babies to gods, all Molech, all over the place and stuff like that. So like maybe he's like, yeah, these fucking people, there's no way that they can fucking handle something like that. Let's just slow roll this shit. And that again, that might be a branch to start standing on if you're trying to defend this uh, particular argument from Harris. But I'm gonna leave that where it is. I'm gonna leave that where it is for now, as far as uh, this, that, and the other thing. As far as that one particular question, I think I did it. I think I did it. I think I is there more to say? Obviously, there's more to say in the world about that, but I think I think I came up with uh some sort of like a little rebuttal to that. I think I created some footing for some religious person somewhere to use that and to expand on that. Like yeah, these people, like that's you know these people, they sucked. They couldn't follow any rules. They were bad, and so he's like, I can't give them the biggest rule, like the best rule. I don't know. Again, like, do I think Sam Harris has a great point? Yes, I think Sam Harris has a great point. I think Sam Harris has an amazing point, an absolutely amazing point. I think that point puts you in a corner, no matter what part of the religious stance you take. You know what I mean? I think it's an amazing point, and I don't know. That's just what it is. Like it's a good point, and and we just debate. We just look at these things and we try to think. And um, I wouldn't want there to not be good points. You know what I mean? I wouldn't not want there to not be good points. So that's a good point, and that's just my 2 cents on it. And we didn't even talk about like the clothing, freaking and different like petty laws and stuff like that. Like, why can't you wear different colors of clothes? But I think we did. I think we talked about plenty of stuff for that. I'm not making any life claims of faith at the moment. Um, the USA team soccer, they won the other day. They beat somebody. Um, and I watched. I can't remember who they beat. Who did Team USA soccer beat? But it was like four to like, yeah, one. It was Paraguay. And oh, wait. Oh, I didn't know that they had lost to Germany in the friendlies. But that's fine. The friendlies don't count. They're just friendly. But yeah, US beat Paraguay in their first fight. And I don't know much about. I don't know so much about soccer. Like I'm not like a soccer guy, but they looked really good out there. You know, they did look good out there. They looked like they were ready to play some soccer. And I'm glad they won. I like Team USA and stuff like that. Um, I hope they keep doing good, and I hope they keep winning the games and stuff. You know, the World Cup is wild. Like fans go nuts, which is pretty kind of cool, I guess. As long as you keep it clean, you keep it classy. You don't, you know, everybody's talking about all the Knicks fans. They went nuts and they burnt this and they burnt that, and it's like, yeah, I mean, a lot of teams like they did that in LA in 2020. Like, I mean, even though that was the summer of protests, but like of riots and protests and riots. But like a lot of teams, like you see it like college football teams in Wisconsin, like just go nuts if they win like a big game or whatever. Like people get drunk and sports are kind of tribalistic in the first place, and it's beautiful when it goes right. It can get bad when it goes really wrong. But let's keep it classy and cheer for your country and wee woohoo wee Mario. And so I was asked. They asked me today. They asked me, "Oh, Equidest." No, that's not what they said to me. That's not what anybody calls me um, yet. But I was proposed with the question, "What do you think about the guy?" I don't know his name. Big, like a chunky UFC fighter who would knock my head off for calling him that. But nah, they were like, "Oh, what do you think about what he said about the former first lady about Michelle Obama?" You know, I guess he said some bad things about her. You guys know what he said about her, and I was like, it's dumb, man. It's dumb. It's messed up. It's stupid. Like, it's like some jerk shit. Like, why you gotta take a low blow? Like, I like you want to be a Republican and all that stuff. You want to be a Republican UFC fighter. Like, you got this UFC event outside of the White House. UFC is kind of like a lot of right wing people, like more of a right wing entertainment than a left wing entertainment, and you're winning, like you won, and like why do you have to go there? Like, ooh, for what? Like we're already in a strained environment, like strained time, like everybody's already like mad at each other and stuff like that, and like why do you just gotta, like that's just some dumb shit to say. You know what I mean? That's just like divisive rhetoric for no freaking reason. Like I said, like just being able to have that event there and winning while you're in your American trunks or something like that. You know, say say something patriotic, say something positive. Better yet, say something uniting. You know, but to use that opportunity out of all the things in the world you could say to thank your freaking parents, thank your God, thank anybody, instead you use the opportunity to bash the Michelle Obama. Like what the flying fudge? Yeah, I thought it was stupid. And um yeah, yeah, that was just dumb. That was just dumb. But yeah, I mean, that's I guess that's what happens. Like like I said, his president. But that's you know, it's repeated rhetoric. I don't know if this is something that he would have said like off of his own head, off of his own mouth. Um, even though uh, Trump has kind of seemed to slow down slightly on that type of rhetoric. That's clearly where he got it from, right? I don't think he would have came up with that off his own head, but I thought it was dumb. I don't think you need to do that. Um, and then the SpaceX IPO came out. I'm kind of curious what your guys' thoughts on that, what your positions are on that. Um, I'm in at 190, and we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Yeah, I'm in. I'm in not for the short term. I'm not trying to ride the IPO wave and then dump, um, which everybody is predicting is gonna happen. Um, but no, I'm in for the long. I'm in for the long haul with SpaceX. It's if you guys, any of y'all that know me at all, as far as just watched a handful of episodes here and there, but like space exploration is something that just absolutely fascinates me, absolutely captivates me, my imagination. Like it's um the next frontier, unlimited possibilities, unlimited potential. I It's a whole new, it's everything, right? It's everything. Uh, we're on this rock and we're just surrounded by infinity and beyond, and uh, we're just starting to be able to as a species be able to go out and venture and explore. And it's, I think, I don't know, because I don't know what that means philosophically, but somewhere in me I feel like were we always meant to be a multi-planetary species, or no, or is that unnatural? Because to me, if it's something that we keep dreaming about and we keep depicting in our artwork and in our plays and in our collective consciousness, if it's something that is uh, it's hard to separate whatever's on humanity's mind from like our destiny. Like, where are these thoughts, coming from? Like, why do we have this urge, this instinct, this imaginative compulsion uh, to be a multiplanetary species? I want to see it happen. I've always wanted to, like, I've always been intrigued by the possibility, and I want to, you know, go to the moon before I die, and and someday we should be on Mars as well. And I don't think I'll be able to see the first like Martian born kid, like, but that's something that absolutely fascinates me, that I would love to be alive for in our species story. But and so I'm in on SpaceX, not just because of, more so for the narrative than the numbers. I mean, I know it's a company that's losing money, but uh there's money also to be found someday if you perfect space, right? Or as you build competency in space, there's money to be found. um so there's that. um I also wanted to give an update on My universe. Uh, as some of you have heard, I have a mutant universe that's being created. We have well over 100 characters now. Main characters, supporting characters. We have multiple islands. We have story arcs for multiple characters and story arc in general and stuff like that. Tons of concept art and uh, we have a website that's waiting, that's ready to host this universe, and it's been like the main thing that I've been working on. It's going to allow me to infuse philosophical concepts into art and storytelling. Um, in a way that is unparalleled to any other medium that I personally engage in, right? Super exciting. I think you guys will love it. I think anybody, not anybody, but I think a lot of people will love it. Um, I have, we have episodes written. Um, and we're working on storyboarding the first 5 episodes. So we're gonna have uh, text and image for the first 5 episodes, which is a great medium. I think that's a great medium, and we'll have like clips as well for like we'll have like really small clips for like some of the biggest moments that happen in the universe. And we're gonna drop. The idea uh, is to the um, drop the first 5 episodes and maybe one at a time, maybe all together. But even if it's one at a time, it'll be clustered. Like it'll be very close to together. So we're gonna drop those, and we're gonna make. I say we. It's really me, but I'm talking about like future employees. I'm talking about you guys. I'm talking about the whole ecosystem that I'm trying to build. Um, we'll drop the first 5. I'll put out the first 5, and the um, first episode and the last episode of that 5. So the first episode and the fifth episode will be free. Um, and the second, third, and fourth episode will be 99 cents each. Um, the one of the cool things that you guys will see too is I'm going to be completely transparent here. I use a lot of AI when I'm rendering these images. I'm not an artist. I know how to doodle, but it would take me, I don't know, 20 times, 50, 100 times as long as it takes me to like make a character, make a scene. Um, so I use AI to render the images for these storyboards for these episodes. Um, and I'm not and you can see from episode 1 already, just from episode 1 to episode 5 already, you can see the improvement in AI's image rendering abilities. Um, and it's awesome. So I think it's really worth. Uh, I think that's gonna be I'm gonna keep it that way. I'm not gonna go back to episode 1 and change it. by like updating the images and making them more consistent. More, I mean, I did good with consistency. I was using an AI that was designed for character consistency before AI was able to do character consistency. You know, when the image creation was blocked by character consistency. You know, where when AI would have to re-render an entire image every time you asked for a small edit, and it would screw up a bunch of other things. Um, Now the mainstream AIs have really gotten better at that. I've talked to you guys about GPT 5.5 and stuff like that in the past recently. I think GPT's image generator is way better than Grok's at a lot of in a lot of different ways, or in a handful of different ways. But all that's besides the point, kind of, but not really. So there'll be 5 episodes. It'll be on that website. Um, there'll be more to come. Um, There'll probably be an Instagram associated with it. I'm going to be doing community events and different stuff like that. Um, so that's just an update on the universe part of the mutant universe is going to be becoming another uh, arm of my brand in general, and that's just an update on that part of it. So as always, stick around. We're trying to do this out here, man. We're trying to do big things. We're trying to get to big places, one brick at a time. You guys, me, and we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. And I always say, like, I am the right one to push. I am the right one to explode, because I will give back. I will not. I I will honor humanity if and when we make it. I will do humanity proud. I will not be one of those scumbag wealthy people. I don't want to be famous, but yeah, no. Uh, Anyways, um, I hope y'all do good. Um, Try not to do anything bad. No, just take care and stuff like that, and we'll chat next time and stuff. Okay. All right. Goodbye.